YouTube. Alright, this video is inspired by personal experience. Just this morning, actually. We're going to be talking about some car preps. Things to have in your car, the trunk, when you're out on the road. Carry around with you all times. This morning I had some errands to do. Ran out, and first stop sign I got to, I felt my brakes felt a little bit mushy. Anyway, I didn't think much about it, and the first stoplight I got to was sitting there at the red light, and I could actually feel the brake pedal. When I'm holding down the brake to stay stationary, I feel that brake pedal sinking under my foot. Slowly, but it was sinking, so I knew something was about to happen. I had a feeling I had a brake job coming up, but didn't take too long before all sorts of warning bells and things started flashing on my dashboard, and I was low on brake fluid. Now, thankfully, in my trunk, I keep a milk crate with a selection of fluids and some other stuff. And I was able to pull over into a parking lot and top it off and get back on the road safely until I can get that leak fixed. But I figured I would talk about it. And here's some of the things that you should be keeping in some sort of a milk crate or a box or a duffel bag or something in the trunk of your car. Go get an organizer or trunk organizer from Canadian Tire or whatever, but you should have these things with you at all times. It helped me out today. And number one in there would be a liter of motor oil. Oh, there's different types. Check your manual for your car. If you don't have the manual, well, look online. They're pretty much easy to find there. Everything is there, all of them, for whatever you're going to be driving. You'll be able to find the manual online. Find out what grade of motor oil you need. Now, most cars today, like mine, will take a 5W30, but it may vary, so check the manual and see what you need. Coolant would be another one, and don't go for a liter. I don't even think they sell that stuff in liters. It's a 4 liter or a 1 gallon jug. Normally it's mixed 50-50. They do sell it pure, but you need to mix it 50-50 with water before you put it in. So you may as well just buy a gallon of the 50-50 stuff. And again, there are different types, so check your manual, because if you start mixing types and put in the wrong one, it isn't meant for your car, you can damage your radiator with it. So check that out. There's different colors and different grades and whatever. Find the one you need and put that one in the trunk. Power steering fluid. I've run into this one before, actually, with a leak in the power steering pump. Again, there's different types, so make sure you get the right one. A liter of that stuff should do you just fine, be able to top things off. Brake fluid. Well, that's what I needed today. And again, there's going to be different grades. Check your manual. For most cars, like mine, it's going to be a .3. But check, because I have owned cars that have taken .4 before. So make sure you get the right one that goes into your brake fluid, into your cylinder, master cylinder. There's a little reservoir under the hood. And that's another thing. Familiarize yourself with where these reservoirs are and how to fill things up, because you don't want to be putting windshield washer fluid into your radiator overflow. That's going to cause problems, and vice versa. Make sure you know where this stuff goes under your hood. I also like to keep a 12-volt air pump for pumping up tires. Slow leaks happen. You may start to feel a bit of a wobble or a shake in your steering wheel if you're doing 100 kilometers on a highway. Most likely cause of that is going to be just a low air pressure on one of your tires. It will cause that vibration. So a 12-volt air pump. I also keep a can of tire sealant and inflator all in one. I've never used the thing. I don't know how well they work. I've never had to use it. But it is an option. I actually keep both in the trunk, and I've had occasion to use the air pump at least a dozen times when you're out and about. Road flares. Great idea. Set of 3 road flares. Buy them at Canadian Tire or your auto parts store. If you have a breakdown or an accident, you can put those out, warn people that you're there, especially at night. You don't want to get hit while you're on the side of the road because people couldn't see that you were there. I also carry a flashlight, and what I carry is a headlamp flashlight. It's not an expensive one. It's not my go-to one. It's a cheap one. I think it actually might have come in a car kit or something. Every time I open the trunk, I pull it out of the top of the milk crate, turn it on, make sure it works, batteries are fine, turn it off, put it back in. But I like the headband one because you need task lighting, and you're probably going to need both hands to do whatever you need to do to get back on the road. So having that headlamp strapped right up here is going to be a big help. You can keep your hands free, and it will point light at whatever you're looking at. Along with that would be a pair of gloves. You can get a pair of work gloves, inexpensive work gloves, put in the trunk. A lot of people, and myself included, have started carrying the vinyl gloves, or not vinyl, nitrile gloves. Just because they're disposable, you get rid of them, and they can stretch to go over top of a pair of winter gloves. If you have to be working out in the cold, it's great to be able to just put a pair of nitrile gloves over top of your decent looking leather winter gloves, because you're on your way to some kind of fancy occasion and you're wearing your fancy leather gloves. You don't want to get them dirty and oily and nasty, so a pair of nitrile gloves. And I also carry an inexpensive pair of work gloves. It's just to protect the hands a little bit of a slip when you're turning a ratchet or something. You can scrape your knuckles easily. So work gloves or something, or like I said, the nitrile gloves are a nice addition too. I also like to keep an old towel and some rags, just a couple of old face cloths and an old bath towel. The bath towel is more for putting down on the ground if you have to kneel, change a tire or whatever. You keep your clothes clean and dry. You're not like kneeling in the slush and whatnot directly. And of course, rags for cleaning up, wiping up spills, even just checking oil and other fluid levels. Transmission fluid, that's another one I forgot. You need to wipe off the dipsticks with something, some old rags, nasty old face cloths or whatever. Back to the fluids, yeah, like I just mentioned myself, transmission fluid, ATF. Again, different types. Check your vehicle, check the manual, find out what type you need. Get the right one. A small toolkit is often helpful. That has screwdrivers, basic ratchets, a couple of wrenches in there. Things like that you're going to need on the road to do a quick repair. Stop leaks. When you want to get back to fluids, stop leaks. And I do recommend the Lucas brand. Now, you can't get it for brakes, but you can get it for power steering. You can get it for your radiator. You can get it even for the engine, a stop leak. Those are great. They can be time savers, and they're not permanent fixes, but they'll get you back on the road till you get to a mechanic. Another thing I've learned to put into my kit is radiator hose clamps. It's happened before where I've blown a clamp and the hoses come right off of the radiator or the engine side. Forget which one it was. I think it was the radiator side. All because of a rusty, nasty, worn-out hose clamp. So, again, find out what diameter you need. Go get the radiator hose clamps. You can get that hose put back on the side of the road. Fill it with some antifreeze, the coolant that you've kept. Even water will do. If it's not going to freeze, it'll get you to where you need to go. Other than that, I think that should be good. What I also like to carry, actually, is some bungee cords, duct tape, cordage of any kind, something to throw into that kit. If you get in an accident and your bumper is hanging off, you can strap your bumper cover back on with duct tape it back on, or use a bungee cord to keep it on, tie it on with some paracord, whatever you've got, but some cordage or something to be able to strap yourself back together to get back on the road without dragging car parts all over the place. Anyways, these are the basic things. I mean, obviously some people are going to have other things to add to the list, such as a tire gauge, spare fuses, snacks. I like to keep all that stuff either in the console of my car or in the glove compartment. It's almost a given. It's stuff that I carry around all over the place. Fuses, snacks, things of that nature. What else did I say? Fuses, snacks, whatever. I said something earlier. Put it all into the glove compartment or the console of the car. Having them can be a great help. As for water, yes, you should have some water. In the summer, it's not a big deal. You can throw a 6-pack of water bottles into your trunk or whatever. In winter, it's a bit of a different story, so be sure to always grab a water bottle with you when you go out in the winter and get into the car. Everything that's if you try to store it in there, number one, it's going to freeze. Number two, when it freezes, it's going to most likely bust whatever container it's in. So grab a water bottle from the house before you leave. And of course, don't forget your EDC kit, your cell phone, your ham radio if you have one, whatever's in your EDC kit, pocket knife, this, that, and the other thing, but that should always be with you anyway. This was more a video about specifically in the car. And again, I got reminded about this today because I did have a breakdown. I was low on brake fluid, had warning lights going off all over the place. I was able to pull over, go into the trunk, grab a bottle of brake fluid, top off the reservoir, and I was back on the road. Now I got to call the mechanic and take the car in, see where the leak is coming from, and get that fixed. But in the meantime, I got to where I was going. I got back home nice and safely with brakes working. That's why you keep this stuff in your trunk at all times. Remember, folks, be prepared, Canada. It's a tough world out there.